Hello, and welcome back to the final video in my Creative Junk Journaling series. I know it's like I dropped off. I was doing so good there doing this series, and then we had a super fun event put on by Crafty Destination and Kelly Banks called the Quarantine Cruise. Bash your stash. Anyway, it was really fun, and I taught a little class on there, so that was a lot of fun. And then it's just like, I don't know what happened. It kind of like I just got busy doing other things, and I think as a creative person, and I think we all kind of have that same thing where we go from one thing to the other, but this has been on my mind. It's been on my to-do list for many weeks, and I wanted to come on here and finish up the series. And I do apologize that it was taking me so long to get this done, but let's get started. So I call this the frosting, and it's basically dressing up and adding the final touches to your journal and to your TN or your planner or your notebook, whatever you use for your journaling or planning. This is kind of like the dressing it up. So let me move this aside. And I thought I could go on and on. I mean, again, there's endless possibilities with this project. So, what I thought I would do is, I have looked and looked for this, and I finally found it at Hobby Lobby. This is the most fun yarn. It's like a confetti yarn. It's in the baby. In fact, I want to go buy it all. That's how much I love this stuff. I think it would be really cute in one of the kits as well. But anyway, so. I use this on packaging up things especially for the confetti kit that we did, You Take the Cake CWR kit. I use this to wrap the notebook. So it's just so much fun. And this month, well, not necessarily May, but in the month of June is my birthday, and so I wanted to dress up my TN for all things fun and confetti and rainbow and, festive for my birthday. And so I went back and forth on what TN cover to use, and I have not used this one. I purchased this one off Etsy. I had it in my inbox, and then it was sold out, and I contacted her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love the style and everything. So she made one for me, and I really appreciate it. And I'm going to try to tag her shop below. She doesn't have an IG, but she's super sweet, and I love her little book. So another thing, and I'll go into that in just a moment about my next video series. I know I had another idea. It's like one thing about this quarantine, my creativity has just been out the roof. So I'm very thankful for that. So what I mean by the frosty is adding all the pretty things. So now, just to kind of go through what I'm going to add today is I'm going to show you guys I'm going to make a little tassel out of this fun confetti yarn, and then I'm going to show y'all how I make my bauble beads. My bauble, here's one for an example. This was I think this was the March kit, but I love making these. They're cute little charms, and they're super easy, and the fun thing about it is you can buy these. They're kind of like bubble gum beads, and you can buy them anywhere. Here's another one. This was one from a couple years ago. It's a rose. This was for like a Valentine kit or something like that. But they're really fun, and they're super easy to make. So I thought I would show you guys how to do that. Now, before I jump into doing the making part of this video, I wanted to show you, and there's my dog barking. I wanted to show you a couple things that I like to purchase. And this is from actually someone local here. I met her at a planning group. She's I love her stuff. She's on Etsy. It's called Preppy Planner Cat. And she does such a beautiful job with her charms. These are little tassel charms. She makes the bookmark charms, and she also makes paper clip charms. So this is one that has a bunny, and this is a cute little Valentine one. As you can tell, I love the pastel pinks for Valentine, because you can have them all year round. And this little unicorn one I bought many years ago. I'm gonna have to check on my dog. Just one second. Okay, so basically, I love. She does excellent work, and like I said, this is a lot of work goes into these, and I I just really love them. So that's kind of one of the go-to people that sellers, hand makers that I go to. Now when I'm making a charm, I'm pretty darn simple. I don't really do a lot of, definitely don't do a lot of bead work. Oh, here's another one. Yeah, this one's got to go on here too. This is a Snoopy one. Excuse the wrapping here, but isn't it so cute? I just love, love me, that's so cute. Anyway, so when I do charms, I'm pretty basic. I will do I look a lot on Etsy and a lot of other shops that carry these different charms, and what I like about this one, this was part of the Anna Green Gables kit, was that it's about writing, and so I kind of put this on my on all my journals because it is a big aspect of it is writing. And anyway, so that's one of the things that I when I'm doing my charms. But I also will do little beaded work. I kind of had some samples here. Here's another one that was from another kit that was, again, I bought the charm, which was the cupcake, and then I just did the beaded work, which is what I'm going to show you. Is very, very basic. I am not a jeweler, but I do know how to twist these and make these cute little, you know, little attachments that you can do simple little charms like that. So I'm going to definitely add that to my kit as well, because one, it's a cupcake and it's kind of birthday theme. And so let's go ahead and get started. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is do the tassel. And these are so simple, and I'm sure you guys, if you're an experienced crafter, you can definitely make these on your own, but I'm going to show you basically how I do it. It's very, very simple. And so let me get my supplies and we'll get started. Now I think there are quite a few ways that you can make these. This is my go-to way of kind of making these. I basically will get a piece. This is 2 pieces of cardstock that I'm going to use. A lot of times I'll use a piece of cardboard just because it's more sturdy, but I just put these 2 pieces together to kind of make it more sturdy. So I figured I want my tassel about, you know, not very long, but about this long, and I'll just kind of run this. Usually I do, the more of course you put, the fluffier, and this is already pretty fluffy yarn, but I kind of want it to be fluffy, of course, right? The more the merrier. So I'm going to probably wrap it. Let's just start out with like 15 and see what happens. So that's 3, 4. So that's 10, and you can already tell it's pretty fluffy. So let's go 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I'm thinking that's a pretty good fluff. I'll do one more for good measure. So at this point I just kind of cut it, and then you have it on here like that. Now this is where it can get, now with this it's going to be pretty darn easy, I feel like, because it's a thicker type yarn, but you're going to kind of see how long you want it to hang, and by the time I tie a knot in there, I'm gonna cut it right there. So at this point I just tie a knot in my yarn, and this is fluffy. So now that kind of is a little bit too long for me, so I'm gonna cut this off and do another one. And again, once you make these a lot, you'll know I don't make them too many times. You know what, I should have probably well, you're going to learn how to do it a little bit backwards. I should have put the yarn in there already, but we're going to go ahead and cut this like that, because I typically wouldn't do it this way. But considering I already cut the yarn, I'm going to bring it up like this, and it's going to be just like that. So it's basically you're draping it over, and I'm hiding that knot in there like that. And so you can see it's kind of even Steven, but once you get it fixed, if you have any stragglers or longer ones than what you want, you can always trim those off. So then I'm going to come in here And this is where you can really doll it up, as far as a lot of times I'll put a rubber band on here, like one of those little bitty rubber bands for small hair, just to hold it in place, and then hot glue like pretty cute little ribbon. But I'm gonna just kind of put this is gonna be my this is gonna be my tie. So once you get it kind of where you want it, and to me I want it kind of as close as I can to that top part. And this is where it would be really handy too, is have a second hand, but we don't always have that, which is fine. Because what I'm going to do is just tie it one time and see where we're at. And then I can start pulling down as needed. Even after you tighten it pretty much tight like that, you can still pull on it a little bit. See, as it pulls those in there. Because the tighter it looks, I think the neater it looks. Okay. And then what I like to do is kind of come around. See if I can find those two. They're the long ones. I like to come around and do it on this side too. Basically just kind of do a little knot. And then you can kind of play with it. But this is where you can actually come in and put, like I said, a cute little ribbon or something like that. But I am perfectly fine. I wanted just like a little confetti frosting to add to my TN for, ta-da, it's so cute. So that's what I have, and then we're going to add this on here. So what I'm going to do is just come in here and pull out. And you know what you could do too is you could add, I might need to make it still a little bit shorter. So I kind of like mine to be up here a little bit, but that's something I can work on. One of the issues that I have started having with some of my TNs is I guess I fluff them too big and then I end up having breaking my elastics. Anybody else have that problem? So what I can do, which I won't worry about doing that on camera, but I can actually cut this again and make this a little bit shorter. But you get the just idea of making a tassel. And like I said, this is probably something that you guys already know how to do, but I just wanted to more or less talk about this fabulous yarn that I like so much. Okay, so moving on next to the beadwork. So I moved it down here. Okay, so this is also one that I have that I kind of pulled out because I thought I might add that on there. I don't know if I will have room, but this is one of the ones that came in one of the kits, but I had an extra. Oh, if it isn't the dog, it's the cat, you guys. Hold on. Okay, so to do the beadwork, I basically used one of these fairly tall, let's see, this is a 1 inch. Let's see how one. Okay, so I use a 2-inch nickel free. You can. They have it's called a head pin, and they have so many different colors on the aisle. I kind of wait for this to go on sale at Hobby Lobby because that you can get it like for 50% off. But so what I do is I typically find a bead. And then I just kind of try to color code it. And these are some that I have left over from past projects. That's the cool thing about when you start making this jewelry. You can just start a little bin full of leftovers from projects, and you always have something to play around with. So I'm just going to kind of, add, I put a little seed bead. These are those little teeny tiny seed beads. And then I want to add kind of a bright pink. And then I'm going to put my big bead on. I did look for purple before I started the video, but I didn't find any. I always like to add some sort of sparkle on mine. And then I wanted to finish off with like the blue. Here's the blue right here. Okay. So then you can see you kind of have some extra left over, but you want to make sure that you have enough to be able to loop under, to make it a little loop on the end, because you're going to want to be able to hang it onto your lobster clasp. And I learned this kind of in, I did take a jewelry class a while back, several years ago, and so she said kind of make a hook where it has a little bit, and then you just trim off that little bit of an edge there. Yeah, my dog is a pain, you guys. I just saw him walk by with my fluffy pen that I was going to put on here. I'm going to have to go get him. So, but I'm going to finish this up, by golly. So then these are they're curved little pliers, and they have different sizes, but you're basically going to take it, and it doesn't squish your wire, which is what happens. You're going to take it, and then it's like, the way that they described it to me is like, it's like you're going to turn, of course she had me turn out. I do better turning in, but it's kind of like when you're going to turn like a motorcycle on. Let me go get my pen from my dog. I hear him chewing on it. Okay, so yes, my beautiful pink fuzzy pen is ruined. He chewed it. You can see it had a bow there. He chewed it all up. He's such a brat. So that won't be going on my planner. Okay, so we were just making our bead, and this was turning it over and like a motorcycle. Now it's kind of loose, so I'm going to open it back up, trim a little bit more off of there. Whoops. Now don't drop the beads there. My God. I almost feel like I should make this video over with all the interruptions and chaos that's going on in my household. And then I'm just going to squish it, do the same movement. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'm really just kind of pushing that end of that wire into that bead there. And then you have your little charm. I found this one is also in my little bin. This is a kind of a blue and red Christmas theme, winter themed one. And so that, you know, like I said, there's so many endless possibilities. And if you guys go on to Etsy, if you're not familiar with the whole bubblegum beads, oh my goodness, you will fall in love. There's so many wonderful ones. So I use I believe this is a 18 size lobster clasp. They come, or 14. I'll take that back, it's 14. And then I always use these split rings. I love split rings because I feel secure that my beads are not, that my charm is not going to fall off. Now, I know there's ones that you can really actually bend together, but for me, they come in a bunch of different sizes. I think there's like 3 or 4 different sizes of split rings. So depending on what size of the charm I'm doing, it will depend on what size split rings. So with the bigger charms, I pretty much just use the bigger split ring, and I start out with this, and I just kind of push it against there. And I know there's a tool that opens up these things. Actually, that's the one that's not a split ring. But once I get it started with the lobster clasp, I just take this bead and I slide the end that is turned over, and I grab my little wire bender thingies. I don't know what you would call these. And I just hold on to this and I use it to turn, and that makes it so much easier to make. And there you have it. You have your cute little beads. So let's add this, since my tassel needs to have a little bit more work done on it. It seems like I kind of really pulled this out. Let's move this back in. Okay. And so I just basically add, and this is where I kind of go crazy. Let's move some of this out of the way before I make a bigger mess with this. Isn't that cute? So, and this is where I get, and I start adding in all my frosting, as you would say. So what's fun about these is you can also, since you have that split ring, if you have other charms and you don't want to keep adding more on there, you can actually take these charms and add them onto and make a, and almost make them look like a big bundle of charms, which you could. But like I said, I always like to put my right one on there. So I always like to put my book and my inkwell. Add that. And then of course let's find Snoopy, because he needs to be added. And he's gold. I see he's got it, and I know that you can pick the different coloring, and he's more got the gold, but you know, I don't lose sleep over that. I look at if it's cute or not. So, and there you have it. Look at that. And that's so cute. Lots of fun, and of course it just makes me happy. So that's my frosting added to that. And then like this, what I like about this planner, this TN cover, is she has adventures await, and I love that because it is, life is an adventure and should be viewed, you know, how, whatever it is, you know. So, but if I didn't have that, I could always add these little charms to that. You could definitely even add this one over there if you wanted to, but like I said, sometimes I have to tone it down, because then it's like such a gigantic fluff of fluff, which is not a bad thing at all. But I have more fluff I want to add. So this is also something that I ordered, that actually I got a fun box, happy, I can't remember what she called it. It was a fun box where you had, she sent you all the different, a surprise box from Little Craft Place. And this was part of it, and it's so cute. It just adds more confetti in your life, which you can never have too much confetti. But I just put that in there. That's another kind of fun little thing to add. And I'm going to put this in here. Now when I ordered this, so it kind of just, who doesn't like more sparkle? When I ordered this, she also had this little scented berry scent air freshener. Oh my gosh. It doesn't really smell anymore, but it smells so good. I kept it in here because I loved it. I carried it around my other TNs. So I'll just move this back in here. I think it was in here. Maybe it wasn't. No, that's a smaller pocket. Oh, here. This is her. JennifulCreations. Jennifer Showalker. Anyway, I love her stuff. Like I said, I will tag her below. And I'm so excited, Jennifer, to be using this this TN. So, okay, so that's another thing, and I love that she has these in there. You could add beads onto this. That could make a fun little additional frosting to it. And then, of course, you have your paper clips, and I love adding them to the side here. So, especially since this is a cupcake, and this the TN that I just put in here is actually a TN insert. Is actually my May, so it's going to be coming out, but I will definitely be adding a lot of this stuff to my June. But I love adding it where the charms are actually on the side. And then this was one of the big clips that was in this past Alice in Wonderland kit, and you can add, I love adding this to bookmark your pages, and plus it adds just such pretty, the villain's back, you guys, and what I mean by the villain is Pokey, my dog. And so, but I'm wrapping it up, and so so he's fine. But anyway, so that's just a couple ideas. These you can buy on Etsy as well. You can also make them. They're just basically torn material that you can put into your paper clip, and I love adding that. So like I said, you're just frosting up your traveler's notebook. Cute little paper clips, whatever you like. So that's kind of the conclusion of my Creative Junk Journaling series, because there is so many things that you can junk your planner up with to make it look so cute and whimsical and pretty, and also give you little messages. So, all right, you guys, thanks for following along in this series. It's been great. Oh, before I conclude this one, I did want to tell you the next one that I have coming up is really a memory keeping series. It's called A Nostalgic Summer. And so it's going to be about taking maybe images, ideas, feelings. I'm kind of going with the five senses of basically, you know, what you did for your summer, maybe what you ate, what you remember doing during the summer. So I'm going to be taking those series, and this is the reason. What triggered this thought was we were going through some old photos, and these are ones from when I was a kid that, you know, they have their story. There's a story to tell with each one of these photos, and so I thought it would be really fun to actually get these put in. Yes, we had a pet raccoon. So actually get these into a binder, get these into a journal, write some stories, even if you're talking about something like along the lines of cereal that you ate during your as a child. You know, you can still add a picture in here. For instance, this is my sister here, and one of the funny stories here is that we all had to share sodas. I mean, you know, those little cans. I mean, now you're like gone through them, no problem. But as kids, you know, we had to share them. So this was so much fun. I mean, I had such a great childhood, and I just want to document that. And so, and you know, even if you don't really have pictures or want to do something of your childhood, maybe with, you know, past ones as you're in your teens, we want to keep those in the closet, you guys. I'm just kidding. But, maybe. So anyway, I think it'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think being home during this season of the COVID-19, it's really made me kind of reflect on being at home as a kid and what we used to do, and especially having the mornings to enjoy and outside. And so anyway, that kind of is my thought process on that. And with that, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in my next video.